Chris, you signing in again? Oh, no, it's okay. Just want to see it from all the angles. Okay, so I think we are good to go. So find a comfortable seated position, cross-legged, legs in front of you, whatever you prefer. Close your eyes and begin tuning your attention inwards. So this is the time where you can manifest your intention to be still, to be mindful, and simply letting go of the weight of the day. So feel your body, feel your breath. So notice what story the breath tells you. So without placing any judgment, notice the quality of your breath, the depth, its natural rhythm. Ask your body to soften. Relax through the shoulders and your jaw. Just feel all and any sensations that are currently in your body. It doesn't have to be anything grand. It can just feel a bit tight in the hips. Maybe your foot is itchy. You know, anything that arises in the space of your consciousness. As you hone your attention, maybe other things, a bit more subtle, begin to emerge. So at the beginning of the practice, or as you settle in for meditation, you simply try to be aware of being aware of everything that's happening within you, inside your body, around you, taking in all the sounds, noises, whether from afar or from a room next door. But all the while being present, being grounded, and allowing the sensations and noises to arise and then dissolve. So bring the hands on the top of the hips, so kind of like going into your groin, to the bottom of your belly, like the bony bits of your hips, and just with your eyes closed, send your breath into that area. So allow your belly to expand as you breathe in and contract as you exhale. Beginning to deepen the inhalations. All the while feeling the connection with the ground, allowing you to stay rooted in the present moment. Then bring the hands to the sides of your ribs, so quite high up to the floating ribs. And again, breathe into the sides of your body. Try to widen your chest as much as you can as you breathe in. And then bring the hands behind you. Again, place the back of your hands to your ribs and breathe into the back of your heart. So feel the gentle expansion of your ribs and the back of your heart. And then place the hands just underneath your collarbones or just your upper chest and breathe into your belly, the sides of your body, the back of your heart, and then feel the collarbones lifting and your throat expanding. Allow yourself to be greedy with the inhalations. Now, if you want, you can release the hands down and continue breathing through the same pattern. So using the three-dimensional aspect of your breath, deepening the inhalations and slowing down the exhalations. So you're in control of your breath. Try to let it be smooth, but be in control of what's happening. So you're not straining, you're not running out of breath. 3 more rounds in your own time. And let go of any control of your breath. Breathe naturally. Notice how your body feels, if anything has changed about the rhythm of your breath. And then open your eyes and we'll transition onto our backs. So this is where you might need your blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can use the bolster as well. So I'll show you with the blocks first. So one of them needs to be on the flattest setting or medium height, whereas the one that will be supporting your head will be on the highest one. So whatever you do, if you want to do this, it's fine. Just remember that whatever will be supporting your head, it will feel nicer when the head is slightly elevated. So the bottom block or bolster needs to be kind of like underneath the shoulder blade, so where the bra strap is, or you can imagine where it is if you're not wearing one, and then kind of like lower onto your elbows, your forearms, and then have a little play. You will know if you got it right. So you don't want to have the block on your upper back or your lower back, but so that the bottom of the shoulder blade is kind of hooking against the back of the ribs, which creates an opening in the front of the body. So if you only have one block, use it underneath your shoulder blades, and you can allow the head to dangle if it feels good for you, or just place a cushion there. If you've got a bolster, then you place the bolster in place of the block underneath your shoulder blades. And just feel your body, how it's held, how it's supported by the blocks, starting with the legs bent. Once you settle and get more comfortable, maybe you want to straighten the legs Perhaps you bring the soles of the feet into a butterfly shape with the knees coming out to the sides. If you fancy a slightly deeper opening and target your groins, then this is where you want to be. The arms can be by the sides extended, or even if you want to, you can keep them interlaced and behind, but mine are hanging, so I probably wouldn't stay here for too long, and we're going to hold this position for about 3 minutes. So this is where I choose to stay. So find the right shape, the right place for you to be, and listen to your body. It will tell you whether this is somewhere you want to stay, whether this feels good, and use your breath to monitor what's going on. Close your eyes and drop your awareness into your heart space. So a few inches beneath your sternum, and send your breath there. Allow the body to relax, knowing the props, the mat is supporting it. With each inhalation, breathe in light into your heart space, opening this area, expanding through the chest. Give yourself permission to surrender and just be held. You don't need to do anything. You can relax through the legs, through the shoulders. So like your body is hanging. In Yin Yoga, the difficulty or the challenge of the pose isn't in the shape itself, but in the duration of the hold. So this is also sometimes the most difficult aspect for those who are often busy, who have busy lives, busy jobs. And then when you're asked to stay and hold a seemingly easy or accessible position for a few minutes, then you're faced with all the busyness of the mind. So that's something that we just carry with us. Some minds are busier than others, but as a general rule of thumb, this is what minds do. They like to be busy, they like to reminisce, they like to plan. And there's always something else that you could be doing rather than just being here. So our task is to rein our mind in, to bring ourselves back into the physical sensations in the body, into the sensations of the breath. And each time you get distracted, you catch this moment of awareness, then congratulate yourself. Gently escort your attention back to the breath, back to your body, and start again. Keep breathing deeply and rhythmically, feeling the openness in the front of the body. The weight of your legs is pulling them down. There's 3 more rounds of breath here. And if you ever feel like you've held the posture for too long and you need to come out, then you should do that. But before you do, it's important to try to stay with the sensations just to check whether it's your instant fight or flight response or whether you can manage it with your breath. Then if you have your legs in a butterfly, gently bring them back to the center. Then support yourself, so your elbows, your forearms. Tuck your chin towards your chest and then push yourself back up slowly. There's a really big opening for the front of the body. You want to give yourself some time to come back. So stay in a seated position for just a moment. Breathe deeply into your chest. Feel the broadness through the collarbones, the length in the spine. And we transition. So remove the blocks to the sides or whatever props you were using and come to your side. So you can start on the forearm if you like, trying to keep the body in one plane. The shoulders away from the ears, and you push the mat away to create an opening through the side of the body. So stay here, breathe into your side ribs. Breathing in the length into the spine, keeping some activation in the core so that you don't topple over, yet really focusing on the opening in the side of the body. You can either stay here, or if you want to, you can support yourself on your hand. So it's quite far away, so I can lean the side down, still keeping the shoulder away from my ear. So this is a much deeper opening. And if you have wrist issues, just be mindful with the right hand, stay on the fingertips or do whatever you can. So you stay in this position and keep sinking the side of your ribs down. Breathing consciously. And then you can drop the ear to the opposite shoulder if that feels good. Maybe drop the chin down. So half circle, bring the ear to the other shoulder. And then go back. Just explore how it feels. And visualize what's happening in your spine. So that helps you cultivate the introspectiveness and focusing on the inner experience rather than on the gross and the particularly obvious stuff that's happening. Then slowly bring yourself back up or roll over to the other side. Can you hear me and see me? Give me a wave if you can. Amazing. Technology, no idea what happened. So I didn't just go, but everything's okay now. So hopefully from the forearm, you can stay here or support yourself with the hand for a deeper opening. Still keep the space between the shoulder and the ear. And after a while, you might be able to drop the side a little bit down, or just see how it feels. Usually we tend to have quite a lot of tightness, and it's only about, the folding forward or extending the back, but there isn't much happening to the sides. So feel the gravitational pull and kind of like surrender to it, as though you wanted to bring the side of your body down, but without using too much strength. Just work with your breath, give yourself some time. And again, you can drop the ear towards the opposite shoulder. And drop the chin down, maybe go for a half head roll. And explore, where does your head want to go? How does it feel in the neck? Where do you need to hold it to find some release? And then gently transition over onto your belly, coming into Sphinx. The elbows are slightly in front of the shoulders. And you lift the chest forward and up. So a similar action that we cued earlier. So you hook the bottom of the shoulder blades against your ribs. So like you wanted to push the back of the heart forward and up to keep lengthening through the spine. Gently engage through the core, but relax your glutes and your legs. So if there's any pinching in the lower back, you want to ignore what I just said and gently squeeze your buttocks. But if there's nothing that would contraindicate, then you can just do that. Roll the shoulders back and down, and the shoulder blades away from your head. Keep breathing into your chest. And you can either stay here or you can deepen the posture, moving into seal. So you bring the fingers to face outwards and push the mat away to find a deeper back bend. So it's the same principle. You want to find some core awareness, but relax through the glutes. It's a much deeper opening that isn't accessible or available to many for various reasons. So depending what you've been doing, what you've been eating, your mood, etc., how open and welcoming you're feeling towards the world will affect how and how long for, and whether you will want to attempt this pose. Gently squeeze the inside edges of the shoulder blades towards your spine, pushing the sternum forward and up. Breathe deeply. 2 rounds of breath. And as you exhale, drop the elbows down. Bring one of the cheeks down. So fully rest. Send your breath to the space between your shoulder blades. And then slowly push yourself back up and slide into child's pose with your knees together, if you like it, or apart. So again, that will allow for some gentle spinal extension. So knees as wide as the mat, and extend the arms towards the short edge of the mat. You can stay here or drop the forehead down. Gently pull your belly button in to draw the sits bones towards your heels. And sink your armpits towards the mat. So gently wrapping the triceps in. Spreading the shoulder blades apart away from your spine, so the opposite action to what we did in Sphinx. And feel the soothing qualities that this posture brings. Now you can relax your arms. If you want to, you can support your forehead with a block, with a cushion. If you want to bring the floor closer to you. Allow your back to lengthen and lift with each inhalation. And deepen the connection with the earth. As you relax, the body gets heavier, the muscles become dense. Notice what thoughts are running through your head. Again, so no judgment to it. Simply becoming aware of our tendencies, our cognitive patterns. And whatever response your brain is having to this practice, try to be content. So knowing that you're deeply nourishing yourself through the longer postures, through the conscious use of your breath, especially compared to last week's practice. This seems like the polar opposite. We're going to hold this for another 30 seconds or so. And then when you're ready, push yourself back up, bring the knees slightly closer together and bring the fingertips behind you. So roll the shoulders back and down, pushing the chest forward. Breathe into your chest, allowing the ribs to flare open. If you want to, you can drop the head back to open through the throat. Notice how that makes you feel. You can always bring the head back up and return to the center. Now you can either do the child's pose with wide legs, if that was enough to stimulate the extension of the spine. We're going to come into puppy pose. So hips more or less over the knees, and you walk the hands towards the short edge of the mat. Then drop the forehead down, and a similar action, wrap the shoulder blades around the upper back and drop the armpits towards the mat. If this feels particularly accessible, you can always deepen it by holding onto the block. I'm going to stay here for a minute. This posture is called anahata in Sanskrit, also referred to as the heart melting pose. So anahata means, or is referred to as the heart chakra. And in the yogic philosophy, it's often interpreted as the unbeaten, unstruck, unassailable. So going further, the philosophy teaches us that apparently deep down in our heart space, in our heart center, there's a space that we can't be hurt, we can't be wounded. And this pose helps you undo all of the protective sheaths or layers that we cover our heart space with whenever we get disappointed or wounded. So next time you feel disappointed or feel hurt in any way, see if you can tap into that place where there are no insecurities, where there's only self-assurance, love, hope, and gratitude, and if that changes your perception in any way. When you're ready, slowly begin to walk your hands towards your shoulders. Use your core to support yourself to bring back into sitting on your heels. Just notice how this area feels, if there's any change. Back bending can make you feel vulnerable sometimes, or angry. You know, there's all sorts of stuff that can come up. So just sit with it. And then step your right foot forward. So you're coming into a lunge. If you want to keep the block handy, you can drop the hips forward and down. If you don't need a block, you can just stay with the fingertips down, your fists, or if you prefer to stay with your hands resting on your knee, it's perfectly fine as well. What you want to do is aim to drag the hips forward and down with you. So really deep stretch for the hip flexors, the psoas, and tapping into the quadriceps. So notice where your body's holding engagement or tension, and see if you can let go of any of that. So we don't need any tension in the shoulders or the jaw. So just relax through that area and just go, you know, body part after body part, and just checking if there's any unnecessary engagement. Keep lengthening your breath out, reminding yourself that what you're experiencing is the body releasing tension, that it's temporary. And whilst you probably wouldn't relax in this pose, essentially what you're trying to do is induce a relaxation in the body through the conscious use of your breath and applying tension or stress to certain body parts. So let's take 3 rounds of breath together. A deep inhale, feel the chest rising up, opening, roll the shoulders back and down. And slowly exhale. Inhale deeply. And breathe out. One more. And then bring the left hand down and bend your left leg. So you might need to use a strap here, you may not. Roll towards the right leg to grab hold of the foot with the right hand. So you're kind of in twisting action. And then drop the hips down, gently bringing the foot closer towards your bum. Don't push it. We're going to hold it for a minute so the body has enough time to settle, to, you know, relax as much as possible. But that's why you've got your breath to use as a tool, sending it to any areas where you feel intense sensations. And if this isn't right for you, then you don't have to do it. If you have a strap, then it will make it just that little bit more accessible. And don't worry, thighs are always tight. They always feel like there's so much tension accumulated. And especially for you, my extreme dog walkers, you will probably feel it more than others. Lengthen through the spine. Talk to your legs. And then release the foot gently. And bring yourself back to tabletop, or whichever way you like. Switch so then the left foot is in the front. So moving slowly, just check where you want to be. Do you want to keep the hands down using any props? feel how the other side is responding. It might feel a lot different. It might feel more open or more constricted. So wherever you are, make an intention to be still. Pay attention to the subtle sensations in the body and remind yourself that you don't need to get anywhere. Send your breath into the sternum. And perhaps if you like visualizations, you can visualize breathing in light into this space. Breathing out tension. You can use a color, your least favorite color for the breath out. Three rounds of breath together. Inhale. And exhale. It's all good. Breathing in. Breathing out. Say quietly to yourself, I am fine. And just one more. Relax your shoulders. Breathe in. And out. Bring the right hand down. Have your strap ready. And just first of all, maybe play. How does it feel when you just bend the right leg? Do you want to stay here? You want to grab the foot? And you don't need to pull it in. Ideally, you want to feel a stretch for the front of the thigh because that's what we're doing right now. But if for whatever reason it doesn't feel appropriate, then you don't have to do it. It's really hard to give yourself permission not to do something if everyone else is doing or if the teacher is cueing it. But it's the same like in any of the dynamic practices that we do. You don't have to do the chaturangas if your shoulders feel particularly achy or if you're just not in the mood for them. But if you're never in the mood for them, then that's a different thing that we need to tackle. Drop your hips forward and down. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. I am fine. Just one more. And then exhale, release. Don't slingshot the leg back. Make your way over into all fours. Very brief down dog. You can stay on all fours or you do it on your fists. After such long holds, it's pretty much guaranteed, or it just feels good to straighten the legs and find some activation in the muscles that we have taxed. Then slowly walk your feet halfway, keep them hip distance apart, a bit wider, bend them as much as you need to, and allow the bottom of your ribs to land on top of the thighs. So if you're here, it's fine. If you're here, it's fine. You want to find as much length through the back and allow yourself to dangle. So focus on the area between the shoulder blades. If you want, you can clasp the opposite elbow, slide from side to side, so kind of like sashaying the hips if you prefer to stay still. If that's your body's calling for, then do that. But keep focusing in the back of your heart. I heard someone referring to it as the back door to your heart. So keep it nice and open so the energy can flow through freely and smoothly. Maybe you want to turn your head from side to side just to feel how your neck is doing. Maybe you tuck the chin towards your chest. And feel the energizing effects of this mild inversion. So your heart doesn't have to work so hard. And just allow your back to lengthen. And then you can relax your arms and maybe interlace them behind your back. So probably the heels of the hands will be apart, and you can either stay here, or if it feels okay in the shoulders, you can straighten the arms. So it kind of works like a pendulum, or like something, what am I talking about? Like a seesaw. So you're not applying any strength. It's just the weight of your arms that's opening through the shoulders. You can keep the legs as bent as you like. Relax through the head, so let it hang heavily. And then bring the hands back to your sacrum, or like your lower back, so they're relaxed. Release them, and then slowly rise all the way up to standing. So your head comes up last. And roll the shoulders back and down. One more time. And then give them a little shake. And then bring the shoulders close towards your ears. So you can clench your fists. You want to find as much engagement through the arms, through the shoulders. Keep squeezing until your arms are quivering. And then release. So let's do it one more. So squeeze it. Keep breathing. And then release. So now we're going to do the opposite. So you want to actively pull the shoulders down. So it might not seem like much is happening, but it's like as though from here you wanted to touch the floor. So you should feel something in the top of the shoulder, maybe a bit in the neck. And breathe. And relax. So give your shoulders a little shake. Notice how this area feels already. Maybe you can't feel too much right now, but maybe you can. It's tapping into the subtle sensations that are constantly changing in our bodies. Okay, then open your arms out to the sides. Squeeze the shoulders together. Maybe lift your chest, look up. And then as you exhale, bring the arms in front of you, your right arm underneath the left. So where elbows meet. Okay, so then you double wrap the arm. So if your palms can touch, it's great. If not, you can always just hug, give yourself a bear hug. Because this can be quite taxing, especially if you've got like wrist or shoulder issues. So just see how you feel. What you want to do is wrap the shoulder blades around your upper back and then drop the shoulders down. So hold it here and then bring the arms to the left and look over the right shoulder, so wherever you are. Here on the bear hug, and then go the other way. And then you can do a couple of like free falls, so you can come into like a gentle forward fold. Maybe you want to extend your spine. So just for a couple of breaths, move into any direction that feels appropriate. So this is the rainbow rhythms I've been waiting for. In case anyone needs a reminder, that's from Peep Show. And then gently release the arms, open through the chest. You can give your arms a little shake. And then we switch sides. So either grab hold of the opposite shoulder blades or shoulders, like that. Or the left arm is underneath, where elbows meet. Then you first wrap the left forearm and you twist it. And then you bend the right hand so the palms can meet. So you're in like this kind of weird shape. Or you can stay here. So left arm underneath. And then try to bring the palms together wherever you are. Then bring the arms to the right, look over to the left. Without pushing it, just see what your range of motion is, how it feels in the neck and the shoulders, and then switch, go the other way. Breathe into the side of your neck. Come back to the center, and again, go through your little free flow. You can do figure of 8, maybe circles coming into fold, opening through the spine. Just talk to your shoulders and see what they've got to say. And then come back to the center, gently unwind, open up, give your arms a little shake, and come back to the center. So you might need a block or a bolster for this. I'm going to come into a deep squat. So as you're going to hold it for a couple of minutes, you probably do want to use a prop, even if you know that your deep hip fold is normally quite good, but you don't want to use too much muscular tension in any of the poses. So you can target the fascia, so the connective tissue, which we don't access if we use the muscles. So that's why we've got all of the long passive holds. And you can just hang out here. If you want to, you can bring the arms in between the legs and kind of begin to fold as much as you can. I've seen people bring the forearms all the way to the mat. Maybe it will happen for me one day, but at the moment I'm just going to be here. So draw your belly button in, so navel is close to the spine, so you can use the pelvic cavity to access that fold. And maybe you drop the chin down towards your chest. Or maybe you bring the ear to the shoulder, then to the other one. So no excessive movement, but just some bringing awareness to how the neck, the shoulders feel where you're in a different position. See if you can relax through the groins. Notice what's happening in your pelvis. Maybe your lower back. You can always make your seat a little bit higher. Or actually, if it feels like your body's welcoming a deeper one, you can also remove some props. I'm definitely happy here. To breathe into the back of your heart, relax your shoulders. Notice where your mind's at. And then when you're ready, you can lengthen through the spine. Bring the legs in front of you. You can remove the block. And straighten the legs, Chris. Now it's your favorite one. So seated, forward fold. So just first of all, just notice how the back of the knees feel. Because after a deep fold, like in Malasana Obviously, there was a lot of knee flexion. May want to flex and point the feet to see how it goes. And then we're going to come into passive Paschimottanasana. So you want to relax the legs as much as you can. Normally at cue, flex your feet, press the back of the knees down, all of this engagement. But here you actually want to be like floppy. So if you have cushions and a block, that would be amazing, because essentially, if I'm not using my muscles, this is as far as I can go before my body registers that I'm fine, I'm breathing deeply, and I can fold a bit deeper. So that's why I like to place the block between my legs and like some cushions, whatever, so I can then place my hands on it and then drop my forehead down. But if you don't have any props, or then just work with what you've got. So even if you're just here, but allow that roundness through the back, flexion in the spine, shoulders are draping forward and down. And consciously relax through the legs. So if your feet fall away from each other, kind of flop out to the sides, it's fine. And allow yourself to surrender in this pose, whatever that might mean to you. So if you love it, and it's great. If you don't love it, it's even better, because as much as it's difficult and it's really challenging to hold or do poses that don't make us feel good, or if anything, if we can't do them, etc., there's a lot of room to learn for us. So quite often, whenever I couldn't do something, I just felt inadequate. And obviously then I was feeling, it wasn't about my yoga practice, but it was about other things in life. So if I always felt like if I couldn't deliver, then I wasn't good enough. But it doesn't matter if you can do a headstand, forward fold, malasana, whatever it is, you're good enough. And it just takes time for the body to open up and do the things that we want it to do. So we don't often think about it, but how long did it take you to learn to walk and then run, jump and that kind of stuff? And then we sit in front of computers quite a lot, and it's hard to do some things. So the hamstrings are weak, their hips are tight. So if you think that you've been doing something that hasn't been beneficial to your posture for 5 years, how long of the undoing will it take you to feel good in a practice? So even if you're not in a deep fold, you're still finding length. So especially through the QL, the lower back. And in Yin practice, where you find forward folds and some back bends, you target the urinary bladder meridian lines. So I'm not an expert on meridian lines or traditional Chinese medicine, but I know that this meridian helps to access the Jing energy. So in traditional Chinese medicine, you've got Jing, it's the generative energy. There's Qi, so it's the equivalent of yogic prana, and there's Shen, which is the spiritual energy. So when you're depleted, when you're constantly, running on fumes, you deplete the Jing. So when you hold long postures like this one, it helps you target that meridian line and restore some of that depleted energy. So next time I ask you to hold this for such a long time and you hate it, just think about how much goodness you're actually doing for your body. When you're ready, walk your hands closer towards your hips and mindfully, slowly extend your spine. So spend a moment here, allow your spine to settle. Breathe and feel where the breath is going, all of the nooks and crannies. And then you can remove the props. Bend your legs and come to your forearms. So like we did at the beginning, I'm going to move to our hands later on. But first of all, drop your chest down. So you round and you kind of like slouch through the shoulders and drop the back of your heart and your rib cage down towards the mat. So you're like concaving through the front of the body. And breathe into the sides of your body. Rosie, it might be a bit more comfortable if you bring the elbows slightly towards the back. That's it. Yeah. So again, it's like hanging on the beach. Either stay here. If you want, you can come onto your hands, but the elbows are still bending towards the back of the room. And allow your upper body to be pulled down towards the mat. So notice how that feels in the shoulders, where you can feel your breath. And then slowly come down onto your elbows and all the way back down. Relax through the shoulders, through the back. Allow the weight of your body to be received by the mat. And then cross your right leg over the left. Shimmy your hips to the right and drop your legs to the left. You can extend the right arm away. You can look over the right shoulder or look up. So wherever it feels good for your neck, you want to focus on what's happening in the lower back. Keep breathing into your chest, finding that three-dimensional movement of your breath. And then slowly shift back to the middle and switch sides. So while we move the hips away from the side we're twisting towards, is that if you do that, your spine stays aligned, but if you didn't move the hips, it would be at an angle. So this is actually more beneficial to stretch and lengthen the muscles supporting the spine and find a bit more space in your QL, which is often responsible for lower back issues. Let go of any engagement in your legs. And then slowly roll back to the center. And you can slide the bolster underneath your knees. Stay in constructive rest pose or extend your arms and legs out so you get comfy for your Shavasana. And grab your socks, jumpers, eye pillow. So whilst we didn't use an awful lot of muscular engagement, or there wasn't much vigorous energy, you still stressed your body. You stressed the tissues, the muscles, your tendons in particular, and the fascia, because it was a yin practice. Now it's the time to fully let go and relax and just feel. So notice if your physical body has changed in any way. Perhaps your energy or your attitude towards the world. So there's always something that's different. It might just not be so obvious at first. Again, drop your awareness at your heart space and remind yourself that no one can break your heart. And whilst it's vulnerable to allow this space to be open, it's also the pathway, the doorway to invite happiness, gratitude, more joy into your life. You can enhance the flow of energy through your heart space by paying attention to what's happening there. And start taking deeper breaths in, bringing your awareness back into your room, your surroundings. Invite some fresh energy, so move your body in any way it feels good and instinctive. I often like to have a full body stretch because it seems like it's this instant boost of energy. Roll over onto one side and bring yourself up into a comfortable seat. So there's no rush. We'll close the practice together, so if you'd like to unmute yourself, then you're more than welcome to. Chris, it's amazing that you turn the lights off. I always forget to do that, but it's just this amazing thing that's so accessible to help you relax a little bit further. So in your seat, bring the hands at your heart. So allow your thumbs to rest on your sternum. So tuning in, connecting to your heart space. And gently bow your head, expressing thanks to yourself for carving out the time to be here. Thanking your body for all the amazing things it does for you every day. And just feeling grateful for being able to practice, breathing consciously, and spending some quality time with yourself. So let's take a deep breath in. Gently open your eyes. Thank you very much for your practice with me tonight. Namaste. I hope you're all ready for bed. Just feeling open and spacious, and you can breathe freely. If you need to go, thank you very much for coming. You can always send me an email if you've got any questions. If you want to stay and chat, you're more than welcome to do that as well, if you've got any questions. Sure, go for it.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Sandra. See you on Thursday. How did you find it? How are you feeling?
It's a nice change. One of those for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, I think that we did it one of the first practices last month, but like we were using like the straps and everything, so it was kind of this one was more yin than the one last month, but they were both kind of like, you know, slow, steady like holds. So it's not, especially with back bends, it's just so nice to, you know, prop yourself up with whatever you've got and just allow your body to, you know, open organically. So
Staying in that pose for a longer time.
yeah, it allows you to, well, the body has enough time to settle and you've got enough time to communicate through the use of your breath that everything is fine, your body can relax, and then you access the deeper layers of the tissues. So that's essentially what yin practice is, because you can't get into your fascia. I mean, you still do, obviously. Fascia encapsulates all of your muscles and tendons, etc. But to be able to really access to it, you need to take the muscle activation out of the equation. So that's why sometimes you can be like, you know, actively stretching, but can't get rid of some tightness. But then if you practice yin yoga or you do longer holds, just working with the breath, then all of a sudden you can notice that perhaps some of that tension is gone. Another pointer is that apparently, I read a study that proved that it takes about 2 years for the fascia to start responding, because obviously, you know, like fascia is like that, the film, you know, when you get on a chicken chicken breast. So this is really strong. So you need to apply a lot of stress through a long period of time to be able to change its elasticity, essentially.
When we had, you know, the one knee up.
Oh yeah.
Like we were there for an age, but I really feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite. I mean, you know, when you're in it, you're just like, oh my God, can you just hurry up? But it's just the best way to release it. And whilst I hate it when I'm doing it, then afterwards it's just like, wow, I've been reborn.
I was fine until you asked me to lift my foot off the floor.
Which when was that?
So when we're in high lunge.
Oh, we went in high lunge.
Or whatever.
Oh, low lunge, but then
low lunge, sorry.
Bending the leg, yeah.
Oh my God, I can't do it.
It's fine, you can, and you know, it depends on like what you've been doing. If you've been doing like loads of squats, then obviously it's gonna feel horrendous. But if you've been doing a more like releasing and like stretchy practice, then it will feel more accessible. So that's it is what it is kind of thing. And the more you do it, the more understanding you will have of your body and how your lifestyle and individual events contribute to how you're physically feeling. And then you kind of like stop fighting it, because you know, if you've been running like loads, then you can't expect your quads not to be tight, right? So then you're not just like, oh yeah, I hate you legs, but it's like, oh, okay, well, I just need to spend more time stretching them, essentially. Yeah, but it's really lovely to see you guys. It seems like everyone is smiling a bit more today rather than last week, because we did the beasting practice last Tuesday. Yeah, on back bend. So I thought I'm going to treat you to yin.
Yeah, I'll see you Thursday.
Yes, see you on Thursday. All right, see you maybe next Tuesday, Chris. And I'll send you the practice. Have a lovely evening. Speak to you soon. Bye.